So you hear about all this stuff that they tell us we're crazy on. They're like, oh, you're a bunch of conspiracy theorists. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Conspiracy theorists. You're a bunch of right-wing magna. You're a bunch of haters. You lie, and your candidate lies, and he makes stuff up, and yada, 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 yada. And they talk about getting information out to the people and how important it is for free media and honest media and all this crap. Well, I don't know all the ins and outs of radio. I'm starting to learn more and more the longer I'm doing things. But the FCC is the company that governs the purchase and selling, or the selling and the purchasing of radio stations. Normally, and I found this out when JVC sold down in Orlando, that tower, and a lot of people were so angry. They're like, come on, radio sales, just don't happen overnight. Like, John knew long time ago that this was going to happen and blah, 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 blah. And so I kind of dug into it because I was like, well, man, I want to know the truth. I want to know what happened.
What'd you find?
Well, I found that John didn't lie. He got a phone call like on a Monday, and he got an offer he could not refuse. And then they made the deal on a Thursday or a Wednesday night. On a Wednesday. And then everybody got the call and the email saying, hey, the station has been sold. Okay. So
within 48 hours, we were all jobless.
But now we're all job again.
Yes. We're
Thank God. Thank God most of us are out working, hustling, and doing our thing. God
kept
provides.
doing our thing too.
Yes.
So it's like
Yeah, I'm very grateful for you and for our relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much everybody landed on their feet. Some people are still trying to find their way, but
I think that's the difference in radio. Is like we know that things can change at the drop of a hat, so we always are kind of on our toes to make sure that you have something in your back pocket or can find something to throw in your back pocket at the moment's notice.
Right.
And I think it worked out. I think for most everybody, I've talked to the other producers, and they all seem to have gigs going. So
good.
That is good.
All right, good. That's good. I haven't kept up with many of the producers. I see Eric every week. But that's good to know that everybody else is.
They seem to be doing okay.
Is Stedman stripping yet? Is he on the stripping pole?
Stop it.
I figured Stedman would be the only one that had to start stripping for money. I heard there's
but
a
he
ditch.
is back in the studio.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Well, fill me in during the break.
All right.
But I figured he'd be the one that went to the pole because I think he's got a niche for that. Could you imagine a stripper on a walker?
Stop
Come on, let's play.
We love you, Stedman.
I love you, Stedman. Thank you for listening to the show still. But I found out Stedman's our biggest fan, man.
Is he?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's awesome. He buys meat too.
And he buys meat at the shop. Yeah, Stedman, I mean.
He lives around the corner from me.
I haven't seen Lurch in 6 months, so Stedman's my guy right now. I'm just playing. So I did some digging and I found out because there was a lot of angry people. And unlike other guys that talk on the radio, I see everybody that listens to me. No, most everybody. Or I talk to them on a phone call or a text or an email because they also shop with us at the butcher shop. They support our family. They're involved in the farm. So I have a lot more engagement sometimes than just like a normal guy that talks for 3 or 4 hours and then they're gone unless they have an event or something. So it was important to me to maintain that relationship off air because I want people to trust me and I want to be trustworthy and I don't want to lie to nobody. So I did some digging, did some research, and found out that when you sell a radio station, it takes up to 2 years for the FCC to approve the sale. Now, in the event of what happened at JVC, it was a phone call. Hey, this is how much money we got. We want to buy the station. So the FCC makes exemptions where JVC basically is liable, and they kind of hang their testicles out there a little bit. So JVC still has the license, all the stuff that could get you in trouble, and this other company who's buying it works under your license until the FCC approves them and the sale goes through. Now, most people that are out buying radio stations already know they're going to get approved, right? It's not like they buy it and then 8 months in, they're like, hey, can we get our money back? We didn't get approved by the FCC. So most people know, hey, I've already talked to the FCC. I'm going to get approved, but it takes 2 years to do it. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm setting the stage here. All right? This just happened. This happened 2 days ago. The FCC, for the first time in history, fast-tracked George Soros's purchase of 220 radio stations to take effect before November. Is it convenient we have an election in November?
Okay, please just tell me if. No, don't tell me. I'll talk to you. Okay, keep
The-
going.
Of the stations, of the 220 stations, their person reach will be 165 million Americans. So even a cell in Orlando, which we had a big tower by the time we switched things out to 1031, it was a big tower, right? A big 10,000, whatever they call it, tower.
Yeah.
And it reached a lot of people, and we had good footprint.
So
All right?
was he involved there?
I don't know about...
Because we've all been told no.
Well, we've all been told no, but somebody sent me a link that the Spanish company that bought us, if you follow up, instead of going down the food chain, you go up the food chain. Mm-hmm. And if you go up like 3 more companies, Soros owns, or he is the primary stakeholder in the company that owns the company that owns the company that bought us. So I don't know. I can't say, I can't speak on that. But I did look at the sheet of like, and it's public information.
Right.
So there's a stock holding company that owns a company. And that company is the parent company of the company that bought the station in Orlando. So does George Soros have any play, effect, power?
Got to brush up on that Spanish, and then you can tell me.
I could, because I haven't listened to it, but a lot of people tell me that it's music and then it's talk. A lot of talk. It's not all music.
Really? Okay, I've only tuned in and heard music, and it is a different style of Spanish music. It's a more poppy, it's more like
Right.
pop music.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
it's not bad. I just don't know what they're saying.
I don't know. I've never even once turned back to that station since the cell. I never even like, oh, let me see what it plays.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
I don't
curious.
know.
I always go back.
You're hoping that we'll be on.
I
You're like, Jonathan, we're on. They made a mistake. They're
That's
playing.
crazy.
They're playing best of.
You know?
I don't think that'll happen. But I didn't bring this story up to talk about JVC in our past and what happened at our station. I brought this up that and I'm sure it's public record. John don't care, but he's out, and there's a lot of people that own stations and buy stations, right? That's what they do for a living. I buy cows and sell cows, so I'm always out looking for cows. And people that have cows that I can add to my stock, buy some young calves and raise them. So I'm always trying to grow my business. But so the people that are out in the radio world buying stations, looking for towers, they all know and understand the massive amount of red tape that the FCC has on radios and on towers. Like me, Jonathan Morris, I just can't go out, even though I have a farm, and say, you know what? I'm going to put up a tower on my farm, and I'm going to start broadcasting radio signals. I can't do that.
You can do a ham radio that way.
Yes, but in order to reach somebody that,
I mean, you can reach your neighbors.
but you still have to take a class on hand radio.
Yeah, I mean, there's still
There's still
licensing that costs. Yeah.
On which is like the
Probably
restriction of free
ridiculous.
speech. It's our air. Like, it's
Yeah,
our air.
but we can't all go at once. It's kind of like taking turns because there's only so many waves.
I understand that. But still, the electronic force of Earth that are naturally there, that we have harnessed to send messaging,
It's crazy,
right?
right?
God put it there. It was free. He was free for man to discover one day under the wisdom of God. But yet somehow, just like water,
Well, we had to buy
And-
the equipment. You had to get all the overhead taken care of before you can provide that service that somebody is still monitoring. So somebody still has to be paid.
no, I get all that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is the fact that the government restricts and controls everything that God has given us to have. And there's regulations and government control and government oversight on everything that has been given free to us to have. And how we have allowed this to happen. And I understand, like, if there wasn't air traffic controllers and a bunch of yahoos on airplanes, and they're like, you know what, screw you, I'm taking off whenever I want to. But wait, there's another one landing, you're going to hit it.
I mean, the world would just implode if we didn't have order.
But I get that. But how about if we all just did the right thing and honored God and trusted God and followed God, and you didn't need the government to tell you, hey, that's wrong, don't do that.
Well, that would be nice, but not everybody follows God.
I understand that, but it's just, I get we need law and order, right? But it's like, if we would just do the right thing, we wouldn't.
Right.
Like, if you cared about your neighbor and cared about and respected other people, you wouldn't need a sign that said 55 miles an hour on the speed limit, because you wouldn't drive like an asshole, for lack of a better word. You would be patient and you would deal with people I'm picking on driving, but I get it. It's a shame that we have built the prison we live in because we can't control ourselves and we have no restraint or respect. And now we have to have people with badges and guns and authority to keep us in track, keep us in line. Anyways, long story short, George Soros just bought 220 radio stations, and they were all fast-tracked. They're all fixing to be up and running just in time to get a message out before the election, and the message will reach 165 million people. And then they want to tell us that the media is not bought and controlled, and the media is not perpetuating, is that the right word? Perpetuating a one-sided version of what they want to brainwash us with.
Well, hopefully there's enough people still listening to talk radio.
And listen to the Florida Band up in Fort Walton and on the app all over the world.
Yeah. I'm not holding out much hope for, I don't know. I don't think we're going to make it as long as the Roman Empire did. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll make 800 years. I really want us to. It's going to require all of us, though. And I know
it's going to be chaos afterwards.
Yes.
It'll be straight up nonsense.
The population will significantly be reduced by either suicide or just straight up murder, pillage,
the purge,
starvation. We'll go back, and I don't know how many people will be able to survive this since you brought it up. Could you go back to a sect type living?
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? And people talk about sect, not sect.
Right.
So people talk about racism now and colonialism and prejudices and this and that and cultural appropriation. People talk about all that crap now because we're in America and it's nice and it's pretty to talk about. But could you imagine? Because society will take care of itself. People will survive. It's in our DNA to survive.
They may just eat each other to do so.
But sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's me or you. And it may be like, man, I've known you for 20 years, but it's me or you. Am I going to just running. But you can't outrun. You can't always outrun. At some point, you have to stand and fight. And I know it's hard to think about that because we live in America, the greatest nation on the earth. We have technology. We have coffee shops. We have malls and movie theaters. And we have home service people. And we have a water guy that comes out and does our pool. And we think about all that. But think about if the S really hit the fan and this whole thing fell apart and grocery stores were abandoned and trucks were abandoned and everything, we got to work on that door, and everything we know and we love was gone, like just gone. There and the one guy with the gun and the badge has no authority because there's nothing he can do because there's no judge and no courtroom. All of that's gone away. Food supply is low. You're left to either hunt or fish or steal, right? Mm-hmm. Then people for security and for protection will start to group up with like-minded people. And it would blow your mind how today they would call it segregation and racism, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that race would play the biggest part of it, but like-minded people would link up with like-minded people. And you would have groups of people who all got together in an attempt to rob, steal, pillage, kill, destroy, just in the name of chaos. And then you'd have groups of people who wanted order and law and security and protection.
Against the chaos people.
Right? And then you'd have people that just wanted to be left alone. But you would start to find yourself sect up in sects and groups. And now even the people who just wanted to be left alone for a simple life, you would find out how fast they could become killers. Because if you're trying to be left alone and another group of people came in to disturb that, you're not just going to lay down and die and let them kill your kids and take your kids, right? So you're going to have to kill them to prevent that. And I'm not condoning a bunch of violence right now. Please don't take me the wrong way. But I don't think there's many people that have thought this through. And this is one of the, it may be a disease or it may just be a gift. They have people who have thought this through, that if tomorrow morning everything was gone, the Lee Greenwood song, everything was gone, how would you start over and how would you survive? We'll be right back.
'Cause I'm working till it's